Hello, my name is Perilous Peanut, and this is going to be my commentated speedrun of SteamWorld Dig 2 Any%. This is just commentary for submissions to SGDQ or any other marathon, really, but I just wanted to have a run of this game with commentary to explain everything that's going on. You know, just to, not even just to submit to GDQ, even though I probably will use this to submit to GDQ, but just to have a run like this on the back burner. So, a little bit of history before I start. This game is a Metroidvania digging game hybrid. And much like the first game, if you've played that, it's got a lot of the same tricks and a lot of interesting stuff that I'll get into as we get into the run. So, without further delay, 3, 2, 1, play. Wait, no. Let me start again. 3, 2, 1, play. There we go. Just for sync reasons when I start up the video. So, run starts now. So, this game is a sequel, and it greatly improves on many aspects of the original that many people, I don't know, felt wasn't great about the original. It has a lot of cool mechanics. So at the very beginning here, we just have to move right, and right now I'm doing a technique called the double jump glitch to get a little bit extra height on these platforms, and I'll explain that now. Basically, you can bind your jump button to 2 buttons on the controller, and if you press jump like a few frames, you can still jump in the air. So it's basically a double jump. By pressing 2 jump buttons, 2 jump binds at the same time, you can double jump and get a lot of height. It may not seem really that big, but it breaks the game in a lot of cool ways. Right here, we're just entering the first little area, which is the Temple of Guidance. There's nothing really much to talk about here. We're just sort of digging and progressing through casually. There's an upgrade cog on the left here, but we don't get it because it wastes too much time. And right here, we'll get our first upgrade of the run, which is the Sprint Hydraulics. They're big speed boots, which let you run faster and jump higher. And it's gonna make for the first big skip of the run, which will be coming up very shortly. As you can see, we got the Sprint Hydraulics, and now we're gonna run to the right and progress forward. So right here, by using the speed of the speed boots and the height from the double jump, we can get into this area way early, skipping a boss. We're normally supposed to fight a boss to get the map and get into town, but if we do that skip as well as a very precise double jump off of bouncing on the water, we can get all the way over to this area, which is way in the late game. We're not supposed to be here this early at all. And we've already reached into Yarrow, which is another area, this blue jungle thing. Right here, we're killing a snail and this scarab for experience, and also to make our way down here. We use another double jump right here to get up to this area without having the jet engine power up or upgrade, I guess. Then we open this pipe, and then we self-destruct. Because we skipped the boss earlier, there's no way to go back to town except with self-destructs. So we kill ourselves there for the first time of many, I suppose, and then we immediately go back. Right here at the top, there's a fixed drop of a Tremolite, which is worth $30. We're going to be collecting a lot of ore in this run, because obviously collecting ore and getting money to buy upgrades is a big element of this game. Right here, I'm taking all the minerals I can. 2 cornflorium and 1 inguium. That's basically as good as you can get without really pushing your luck. So we're exiting this area through the back entrance, which leads us into Archaea, which is the real first area, but we're all the way down at the bottom of the area. But we're not supposed to be here this early. Again, we're basically doing the entire game out of order right now. We're opening pipes that shouldn't be open at this early in the game, and we used the money from the ore that we got to buy a lamp, a bag, and a pickaxe. which is gonna allow us to light up this lamp, which is the only reason we even get the lamp is to be able to enter Archaea. The bag gives us 1 extra inventory slot for ore, and the pickaxe lets us beat rocks easier, or destroy rocks easier with less hits. So we bought the first pickaxe upgrade, and now we're progressing here into Archaea and into the real first upgrade that you're supposed to get, which is the pressure bomb, or the second upgrade, I guess, because we got the sprint hydraulics first. So now we're somewhat doing it in the intended order. We're going to the intended second upgrade, which is the pressure bomb. The pressure bomb is kind of like a grenade launcher, but not really a grenade launcher. You can shoot and it sticks to a block and destroys it. But right now we're not going to be going through the intended path. Instead, we're going to stand on the very edge of this block and shoot a pressure bomb up, which breaks that block, and we basically go back through the entrance because it's faster than going through the exit. I discarded both of my ore there because we self-destruct after we leave this dungeon anyways to go back to town faster, and I didn't want to have any ore on me. So now we immediately take the pipe to below the wall again, which is where we entered with when we left Yarrow. Shoot a grenade launcher, or shoot a pressure bomb at that trilobite, I forgot the name of those things, and then we dig right here to the third upgrade. So this is why we unlocked the pipe below the wall, it's just so we could get to this upgrade as fast as possible as well. Put a pressure bomb on that block to make it rock fall, and hit a button to open the way. And as you can see on the upper left corner, I have two bars. Each pressure bomb shot takes away 1 bar, and that's my water. You can't shoot pressure bomb if you don't have water, so you have to constantly be managing your water supply to make sure that you have enough. Right here there's a hidden ore, which is worth $20 on top of the upgrade station, so we get that. And the reason we're getting a lot of money is just to buy upgrades faster, and also because we need a certain progression of upgrades bought. So now we got the jackhammer, and if you've played the first game, this is pretty much like the drill equivalent. So you have a pickaxe, which you use to dig, soft soil, and then you have the jackhammer, which is for these brick blocks that you can't damage at all with your pickaxe. Right here, there's a pond of water below that first block where I started digging, so we use that to refill a little bit of water. Right here, this azurite, another $20 ore drop, that has always a fixed location, so does the water refill. So there's a reason I'm digging in a very specific spot, it's not random. This game actually has way less random elements than the first game, thankfully, so there's a lot more consistency. So now we dig down until we reach this place, which is the Oasis. This is where we meet Rosie and the Shiners, which are characters relevant to the plot of the game. But we're not going to be talking to them a lot. So as you can see, for each of these main quest points that I'm hitting, I'm getting a lot of experience and leveling up. And the reason we do this in the order that we do is that we need to be level 6 to get to the Fire Temple, or as the game calls it, the Temple of the Destroyer. We need to be level 6 when we get there, because the way to get to the final boss of this game is to destroy 3 generators in the 3 main areas. 1 generator in the East Temple, which is the Temple of the Destroyer, 1 in the West Temple, which is the Temple of Guidance, and 1 in Yarrow, which is the blue area from before, or the blue jungle type area. So now we got the hook shot, and the hook shot greatly expands our movement capabilities, as you can see. And it also opens the door for a lot of really cool physics exploits that we'll be using later. So right there's a way to go between those cacti with a precise hook shot up, but that's fine. We got another upgrade cog right there. Those upgrade cogs are used to activate cog mods in the shop. I'll explain those later. But now we go back to the lower temple shaft tube, which is the very first tube we opened out of order in the game. So we still don't have the map. You're supposed to have your map and the, you know, going back to town the regular way, but since we skipped a bunch of that stuff, we can go immediately to this area. And the reason we get this generator first, we're actually heading to the first generator right now, the first of 3 to unlock the final boss. We're only going to this area right now because it does not require any digging upgrades. So there's a reason why it's so... the route is kind of disjointed, is because we need certain things by certain points, and just the way of progression in this game. It's just we go to places when we need to go there. So now we enter into the Chamber of Wheels. Oops, I accidentally paused there. The Chamber of Wheels, we have to hit these minecarts onto buttons which open doors. And it's pretty basic. As you can see, I'm using the hook shot a lot to get to places faster. The task move in here is actually pretty insane because you can use a lot of the physics that splits with the hook shot to go faster. But in RTA, there's not really much to talk about. You're just sort of doing the puzzles in the intended order, or the intended way rather, sorry. So we hit the final cart onto the button, get another upgrade cog, and I suppose I should explain what the cog mods are. So in the shop, when you buy upgrades, there's 2 sections to the shop. There's the upgrades that you buy with your money that you get from collected ore, and also there's the cog mods, which are status effects that you can sort of apply to Dorothy, which is the little robot lady that we're playing as. This is the protagonist of the game. So different cog mods activate different effects, and we're gonna be seeing a few of those later on. Not right now, but when we get to the fire temple. So this is the chamber of arrows. Right here, I damage boost on these 2 streams of arrows to get by a little faster. Each of those arrows deals a full heart of damage, and I only have 3 hearts right now, so I can only damage boost twice. If I got hit by 1 more arrow, I would be dead. And unlike when you die in the overworld, like when you die in one of the main areas, you don't go back to town. It's not like a self-destruct that brings you back to town. When you die in a dungeon, you have to replay the whole dungeon all over again. So dying in a dungeon is very, very, very bad. You lose a lot of time if that happens. Any area that isn't the main area, you will respawn at the beginning if you die, and not respawn in town. So there's a whole reason why we explicitly don't die to save time, is because there is no time to save by dying in dungeons or whatever. Anyway, we finished that, get another upgrade cog, press the button, which opens the second little opening here, which leads us to the first device of the game. They're kind of like the generators in the first game. It's one of the 3 generators that if we destroy, opens the door to the final boss. So we destroyed one, and the experience that we get from that gives us level 6. So we go back to town, we sell our ore, and we go back to the oasis. Because, as we said, we need to be level 6 to get into the Temple of the Destroyer. Right here I exit the oasis and dig down to get a fixed tremolite drop. The only things that are random in this game are where the ore is in the overworld. So we get a secret entrance to the Temple of the Destroyer right there, which is always in the same spot. So that's one of the benefits of having the consistency. We get that topaz drop, and then we open the tube to the golem altar, which is actually halfway into the Temple of the Destroyer. And So this is why we needed level 6, is to unlock the second upgrade to the jackhammer, and we put 2 cog mods onto the jackhammer, which is slower wind down and faster wind up. So the jackhammer starts up faster and it takes longer for it to stop digging. And so we immediately take advantage of that. And now we are digging down. We're digging down and trying to get as much money as possible because we need 1 bag upgrade and also a lot of health upgrades, because the reason we also need to be level 6, not only for the jackhammer, which I don't think is even required to be level 6, but we need to be level 6 to unlock a certain cog mod called Vidar Boots, which makes us lava resistant, and in the Fire Temple that obviously seems pretty useful. But what the Vidar Boots allow us to do is to jump on lava, and we can't progress to the generator in this area if we don't have lava resistance. Because normally you're intended to do a lot of stuff before you even get to this part of the game. You're supposed to get the jet engine, which allows you to fly. You're supposed to go to Vectron, which gets you the jet engine, which also basically, we're doing this way out of intended order, and we're not supposed to be here this early again. We're kind of doing the whole game in a really broken order to get to the generator. But anyway, we get as much money as we can to get to 6 hearts, which is the armor level that unlocks the Vidar Boots. So we buy the tempered body armor, apply the Vidar Boots, which allow us to jump on lava, take a tube to the temple bowels, and now we're going to be using a hookshot physics exploit to get to the area we're not supposed to be without the jet engine. So you're supposed to have the jet engine here, but if you combine the hookshot with the double jump and the sprint hydraulics, as you can see, you can get a lot of height, and then as you can see, you can swing yourself kind of with the hookshot to get to these blocks up here, which allow us to enter the area without having the jet engine. So we don't have the jetpack for this area, so we do have to use our hookshot and our lava resistance to kind of finagle our way through this area. I have to be careful because the golems that you see walking around in the lava, they actually deal 1.5 hearts of damage, and I only have 6 hearts, so if I get hit too many times by them, I'll die, and that's actually pretty devastating if you die there. It's actually one of the most difficult parts of learning this game. Like when you first started, I was just getting good at that lava corridor because it's really not easy. There's a diamond drop right there, which is always in the same place, and right here we're using our lava jumps for something productive. So as you can see, this is why we got the health upgrades before, is just for these lava jumps. And right here, the third agglomeration of blocks up there will always have a bismuth, which is worth $70. It's the most valuable ore in the game, and the bismuth will always be on the third set of blocks there. Its exact location is randomized, but it will always be in the third platform guaranteed. So we take an opportunity to max out our bag right there. So that's why we got an extra inventory slot before. So we lava jump all the way over to here, open a tube, go back to town, sell everything, and the reason we're getting money is because we need free upgrades. We need an upgrade for our pressure bomb for a reason that I'll outline later. We need an upgrade for our jackhammer for another reason, and we need an extra water tank. So we only have 2 bars of water right there. While the pressure bomb, each shot takes off 1 bar, the jackhammer slowly drains it. So we're getting extra water just to help with the jackhammer, and now we're going to be doing a little bit of farming. Right there, I went up and got that Imaginite. Oh, sorry. So the bismuth is not the most valuable ore in the game. It's actually Imaginite. I forgot. So we're going through this area, trying to get as much money as we can to get all those free upgrades at the same time. And I'm just trying to look around, see if there's any ore near me that might be useful to take. And the location of the ore is random, so I have to do some on-the-fly routing before I enter into the Sun Armory here, and get the Ultra Composite Armor. The Ultra Composite Armor is technically an optional upgrade, but we get it for a very specific reason, which is the final boss. Doing the final boss without Ultra Composite Armor is actually really, really bad. So even with the damage reduction of this armor, you still take a lot of damage from the final boss. And also because there's an Imaginite right here in this block that we use, or that we get to, you know, sell. So, just looking for a little more ore. The ore that drops here is Dark Matter and Unobtainium, which are worth $15 and $16, or $15 and $14 each, respectively. So I'm just trying to get as much as I can, because the way the selling in this game works, it's not like the first game where you just sell what you have and it gives you a set amount of money. In this game, you have a bonus percent that increases every time you level up. So, like, when you level up, it's like, oh, bonus sell, or sell bonus equals 25%. So you give what you, so you sell the amount that you have on you, and plus the 25% of that total amount. So that's how the selling in this game works. So unlike the first game where you can just kind of sell as much as you want, in this game you want to sell only when you have your bag full, because that way you get the biggest amount of money possible. And it's not 25%. It starts out at 5% and increments every time you level up. So it's not a fixed rate, such as even when you have max level, like at the casualty, you get a 110% bonus for every time you sell something. So as you saw earlier, I bought the jackhammer, and I also bought a water tank, and now I bought the second upgrade to the pressure bomb, which will come into play a little later. So the jackhammer upgrade that I already got enables, not only does it take less punches to actually get through the blocks. Okay, this is the second device that tried to unlock the final boss. We destroy it, self-destruct, go back to town. And now we also upgrade or apply the cog mod to the jackhammer, which is Slipstream Jet. And what this upgrade does is it pulls you forward every time the jackhammer breaks through a block. So now we're digging a lot faster. So as you can see, this is how fast we're digging right now. When we're digging down, we're just basically going way, way faster than previously. So that's part of the reason why we get the jackhammer, or we get that cog mod, is to make digging a lot faster. So now we got 2 out of 3 devices. Technically there's 4 generators in the game, but we only need to beat the main, or destroy the main 3 to get access to the final boss. So there's actually 2 generators in the fire temple, but 1 is not necessary to unlock the final boss for some reason. It's kind of like the tutorial when you first get to the Temple of Destruction, that you destroy that generator to get further into the temple. But because we took the secret entrance and went halfway into the fire temple, we didn't need to destroy that generator or get down there, or, you know, do all the intended progression to get to the, you know, get to the part where we need to go. So Yarrow, a little bit differently from other areas, is we actually need to go through some dungeons and complete them in order to dig further down. So the reason I went to this area called the Leaky Lodge and I'm doing this is because literally if I don't complete this dungeon, there's no way to progress forward, because the entrance to this dungeon, because the dungeon is right above a block, sorry, is right above a row of unbreakable blocks, and the only way to break them is if you break the one vulnerable block. at the exit of the dungeon. So, and the second upgrade to the pressure bomb that we got gives it further range. So now we can shoot the pressure bomb further, and hit stuff before the pressure bomb like self-destructs. Because if we didn't have that upgrade, I wouldn't have been able to shoot those blocks right there. The little bomb thing would have just destroyed itself before you even got to the block. So that's part of the reason why we get it. We also get ametrine drops whenever we can. So there's a hidden ametrine ore in certain locations that are always fixed in the dungeon, so we get those. And right here, there's nothing really much to say, except that we're just digging down, trying to get to the bottom as fast as possible, while also trying to collect money, because I want to get a safety health upgrade before the final boss. So the health upgrade that I bought earlier, which is the 7 hearts, it normally is the last health upgrade that you get, but just for safety you can get an extra one. But the thing about that is the 7th heart unlocks Aramid armor, which is a cog mod that's going to be useful in the final boss itself. So that's why we get it. But the safety is just like in a marathon setting, you would want to get that extra heart just for measure that you don't die at the final boss. If you die in the final boss, it's no big deal. You respawn and try again. You just lose a few minutes. So in a marathon setting, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It's just an extra safety that you can get. So yeah, there's not much to say in this Yarrow part. We're just trying to dig down, and this is practically the most random part of the run is Yarrow, because even though the actual layout of the map itself isn't entirely random, it's still random enough to where going out of your way for ore that happens to be close to you is a good idea, because this is only if you're seeking to buy the extra heart for the final boss, which is what I'm doing in this run. This is my current PB in this category, but it's just for safety. So we're just digging down, trying to get as much money as possible, ignoring all dungeons that are not required. There's a lot of content that we don't do. This game has a crap ton of dungeons and areas and artifacts that you can get. And so this is why we bought the second upgrade to the pressure bomb. Is normally this part called the Aeronaut Station. As you can guess by the name, it's something involving a jetpack, and we don't have the jetpack because we never went to Vectron. So that is intended to be a roadblock. You cannot you can't exit that area without the upgrade that you get from that, which is it gives you a weird like damage aura to your jetpack, which lets you break soft blocks, and that's normally how you're supposed to exit that. But if you have the second pressure bomb upgrade, it gives you just barely enough range to explode those 2 blocks and open up the path to the exit for just barely enough time. So that's probably one of the biggest skips in this game, is you skip getting the jet engine altogether just because the second pressure bomb upgrade gives you enough range to destroy those blocks and get to the exit. So we destroyed the third device here, and as you can see, the game check marks free air free. We self-destruct, and now we're going over to the final boss. So even though we didn't get one of the devices, the game still gives us access to the final boss. Why, I don't know. I guess that's just how the game was programmed. But yeah, so we go back to the Oasis and immediately go to fight the final boss. And as you can see, I disabled my my slipstream jet in favor of Aramid armor. And what Aramid armor does is that it deflects 1 projectile that hits you every 30 seconds. So basically, if I get hit with a projectile in this fight, it'll deflect that one projectile, and then it takes 30 seconds for the ability to recharge. So the fastest way to damage the boss right there is 1 pressure bomb and 3 pickaxe hits. Otherwise, you would have to do 8 pickaxe hits. So that's just a tiny little optimization, is just doing those hits in the most optimal way. Right here, I tried to do a skip, but it didn't work. So this is why we even get the aramid armor, is that you can deflect one of these missile projectiles back at the boss and have them explode inside her hitbox, and that skips the phase. And it's pretty finicky to do, so that's the reason why I didn't get it, and it saves about 40 seconds. But regardless, we're just waiting around for the projectiles to end. Then she shoots the missile, we reflect it back at her, and progress to the next phase. So that skip that I was talking about, it only works with the missile projectile, so these purple balls that she's shooting at will not work. You cannot use aramid armor to skip the phase with those. Only the missiles for some reason. And she doesn't shoot any missiles in this phase, she only shoots the balls. So that's why there's only 3 phase skips in this fight, and it's only at phase 1, phase 4, and I think phase 5. But they're so difficult and so finicky that, for a reason I'll point out later, that I don't do them. So some runners do it because, you know, world record, whatever, you have to go for everything, but for my PB, it's just way safer if you don't attempt any of them. So right here, we dodge the balls, we reflect the missile back at her, pressure bomb, 3 pickaxe hits, and now we're at the second to last phase. And this phase introduces a very problematic aspect of the fight, which is she starts chasing you. And when she starts chasing you, if you get hit by her punch, it takes away 2 hearts of health, and we only have 8 hearts, so 4 hits with that punch are gonna kill us. So I have to be very careful in dodging the punches. However, if you have less than 3 hearts, she will stop punching you. So if I have 2 hearts right here, as you can see, she will stop chasing me. And that is actually a strat in the fight, is to just hold on to the wall and have her punch you repeatedly until you're below 3 hearts, and then she doesn't do it anymore. And that second to last phase is pretty nerve-wracking in the run. So right here I could technically go for the last phase skip, which again is basically hug the wall until she punches you enough so that you're below 3 hearts, and then she does the missile attack, which you use to skip the phase with your aramid armor. And you have to kind of wait on the previous phases if you do go for that skip, because the aramid armor needs 30 seconds to recharge. So we're just sort of dodging the projectiles and getting through the fight. And there we go, that was the last phase. And despite what you may think, that was not actually time. Time is when the credits start. So we rescue Rusty, which is the protagonist from the first game. He was actually kidnapped by Rosie and the Shiners. So there's a whole bunch of lore to this game that explains the whole plot and why we were fighting Rosie and that giant robot in the first place. But what matters is that we got Rusty, and now because of that reactor that was going on in the background of the fight, the whole planet's about to explode. So we need to get on a rocket to escape. And we talked to Finn, which is our helper buddy that we never saw in this run because we skipped him. And we leave, and there we go. So now it's just the final little cutscene before the credits. there's nothing really much to say here. It's just a cutscene that can't be skipped. So we're just waiting around, skipping all the dialogue. Skip that last text box, and when that saving game pops up is when the time is. So that was SteamWorld Dig 2 Any%. I tried to commentate it best I could, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna skip to the end card here, just for convenience. So as you can see, 3224 in-game time, 4 deaths, all of which were intentional, 2,000 money, and 7% of the secrets. So yeah, that was SteamWorld Dig 2. It's a pretty neat game, and a pretty cool speedrun, especially when you know the game, when you've played it before, and you are, savvy to all the things that are being skipped and all the crazy routing that's being done to skip basically 90% of the game. But yeah, I thank the GDQ committee for even considering this run. I want to thank the SteamWorld Dig 2 community for helping out. There's a tutorial for any% of this game that helped me a lot. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching, and peace.